Hi folks, Ron from RJM Music here once again. We're on video 5 here of the Mastermind GT, and I've had some questions, people asking me more about the how buttons are configured, and that's a really important concept in the Mastermind GT, one of the key concepts really. And in video number 3 we showed some real basic device setup, but it really only scratched the surface. In the GT there are really 3 ways to assign buttons. The first one was what we showed in video 3, which is basically taking an entire page of buttons, sort of the default page for a device, and just dumping that onto one of the button pages on the GT. And that is a really fast way to get set up, but it's certainly not the most versatile. It just kind of takes a default selection of whatever buttons we thought would be useful to have on a page and just dumps them on there, and it kind of leaves it up to you to move them around or change them. But what about if you want to do something a little more detailed? Well, the second mode of button editing can be done by going into setup mode here. And if we go to setup devices, as we did in video 3, and this is a factory initialized GT. The only thing that I've changed is I removed the rack gizmo that was in slot 1 and replaced it with an Axe-FX II. So we'll select that, and so now we see the same screen, more or less, that we saw in the third video. And what we did there was hit set default buttons, and that's what filled button page 1 with buttons that specifically controlled the Axe-FX II. But we want to have a little more control over the process, so we're going to use the assign buttons here. And what this does, and we briefly went over this in video 3, what this does is it shows you all of the controllable parameters on the Axe-FX II. And so we'll start, we'll start with AMP1, a very important block on the Axe-FX, and we're going to choose the AMP1 function. And now it's showing us what the first page of buttons would look like on the GT, except that they're flashing, kind of reminding us that we're editing here and we're not actually playing or anything. The instant access buttons are all still set up for a rack gizmo. You can see the 8 loops and 4 of the functions are visible right now. And we're going to start here and take this loop 1 button, and we're going to instead, as it says, select button to assign AMP1. And so we're going to assign AMP1 to here. And it says you want to replace or add the function. And most of the time we're going to want to replace it. We don't want the same button to control both a loop on the rack gizmo and the amp block in the Axe-FX. Sometimes we do. Typically we wouldn't in this, and certainly we don't in this case. We're going to hit replace, and so now we've done that. And we can go through and pick a few more functions and assign them. We want to take chorus 1, and we will assign it to be just below AMP1 here. And we're going to replace that. And we'll take cab 1, put it next to AMP1 over here, replace that. And let's see, maybe we'll just take a couple more here. We'll take delay 1 and stick that here, replace. And let's see, we'll go over here and we'll actually take some of the XY parameters, and we'll take AMP1 XY and we'll put that here. And we'll do cab 2 XY, or cab 1 XY, we'll stick to the 1s, and we'll put that here. So anyway, as you can see, you can just do that for any of these functions. Let's also do another page. So let's say we want to do some of the looper controls, and we'll put those on the second button page. So let's say that for most songs we just want to play with the effects blocks, but for certain ones we're going to use a looper, and so that's why we have other button pages, so that for certain songs we can have that second button page come up and have the looper controls right in front of us when we need them. So we'll start by, let's see, there's the beginning. So we'll say looper record, and this time, instead of assigning to page 1 here, we're going to hit next page. It's the left soft button, and you'll see here that most of our buttons are blank on the second page. We've set it so that the preset buttons and the IA mode and the page buttons appear on every page, but that's also a user configurable setting. So anyway, let's start with the looper, and we're going to put looper record right here, and then we'll take looper play, go to the second page and stick it here. Go to the next page here. Looper once. See, I'm just building up this this row here. And we'll do looper dub. Second page again. Looper reverse. And finally looper bypass. Page. There you go. So let's get out of this mode so we can see what we've done. So as you can see, the buttons some buttons are still untouched from the way they were before, the loops 5 through 7 and functions 2 through 4. The amp, cab, chorus, delay, and the XY buttons here are as we set them. And if we go to the next page here, you can see that we have the looper buttons here. And so we can keep going with this on any of the 16 pages, and we can fill up our buttons any way we like. I didn't touch the preset and the IA mode and all those buttons because, well, we didn't need to, but certainly any of these buttons can change to any position on each page, and it's totally configurable by the user. So that's all we have for today, just a short update for now. There are other ways to edit buttons. There's a third mode. That's the deepest mode for really getting in there and getting into all the gory details, and we're going to cover that one in another video. But that one will let you get even further and have buttons do multiple actions and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So until then, please ask any questions on our forum at rjmusic.com/forum or email us at support@rjmmusic.com. Thanks!